Okay, good morning, people.
Good
How
morning,
you doing?
teacher.
How was your week?
Tiring.
Oh, come on. And you had Monday off. Hmm? Guess you've been doing a lot of work. That's what you want us to believe. Okay. All right, guys. Session week. We're working with the elements of an approach, right? Unit 2, the theories of language, the theories of language learning. We move. There you go. We talk about those theories. And you were supposed to finish the assignment, well, not the assignment, but the activity on Nearpod on your own. I uploaded to the website, but nobody actually came and
It
did
did
it.
me, but it appeared that there was nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. But okay, we're going to work on that then. So we just that is embarrassing. Live, live, yeah. Admin Angelica. Oh, sorry. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, sorry guys. Dayani, Ari, can you turn on your cameras because I need to take a screenshot because they're getting very. Uh, well, they like
It's
it
there's
when we share. So I take a screenshot. It said, look up. There you go. Carlos just got it. Yeah, that's good. That should do it. Because I had to turn in a report today, and they like it when I add your screenshots. We want to see that you're actually working. Okay, that's cool. No problem. All right, guys, let's continue with what we were doing the last time we were together. Uh, I'm gonna send you the code, and you already know the link, but I will send it anyways, just so you can get there faster. All right, one person, two people. You can tell that it's Friday. The rating is way down. Okay, now remember, put this in perspective of your English classes, not the BA classes. So I'm sure the BA teachers are way more dynamic. But think about your days when you were an English teacher, or if you're teaching right now, maybe you can share some of your secrets with us so we can criticize you. Wow. So just go ahead and start working on this. Just think about what your teacher usually do in class. Write down, well, first what they do in class, and then try to think, like, what does that activity reflect? Okay. Just write down the activity first, and then we're gonna talk about the connection to the theory of learning that we discussed the last session. Uh, Guys, just type anything. It's okay. Well, the time is right now. All right.
It,
A
it is
warm up activity.
just an activity.
Yeah, repetition. Okay. Read. Just, yeah, what activities the teachers do in class? Build a class around bulk activities, very little interaction. Okay. Good. Very good. Okay, so I posted this. It says cognitive, blah, blah, blah. Because remember that's what we discussed last time. You know, that how do you see language learning? What theory do you see behind uh, you know, the activities that you're doing? Okay, activities what about learning concepts in isolation, like the colors, like the days, repetitions like my name is, I like red, I don't like blue. Okay, very good. So notice if you put this and you contrast it with what we studied last time, which was this, you know, is there a cognitive view? You know, like what Kim shared with us is more lexical, you know, like, and there is a lot of repetition, but still lexical. Okay. Ari says dialogues, right? Dialogues that's more. Ari, when you say dialogues, what do you think this is more similar to, or it reflects or connects to? Cognitive, functional, interactional, structural, lexical, genre, sociocultural.
Mm, well, I did put that word because in my original comment I spelled it wrong.
Oh, sorry.
But I think it has to do with the interactional or social cultural.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I think yeah, we go with interactional more, unless
Sorry.
interactional. Yes, I agree. Unless your teacher was very clear on the context, you know, like you are a couple of culichis in the middle of Paris and you want to talk to people. Remember that this is a different culture. You come from Mexico. These are French people. You have to take all that into account to make it more sociocultural, which, I mean, to be honest, most people don't worry about that. But yeah, it's more interactional, right? Students are at the same level, just communicating, like you said, make a read in pairs, some dialogue from the book, then change some of the vocabulary. So just interactional with a little bit of lexis. And like what Kim said, was repetition of color days. Again, lexical, lots of vocabulary. Carlos says they make us read and work on certain activities. Carlos, what kind of activities? Grammatical or
Most of
reading?
the time they are grammatical activities, like look for the word or correlations.
Very good, right? So, which one of these would you connect it to? Cognitive, functional, interactional, structural, lexical, sociocultural? Carlos, what connection would you make there?
I was going to say social cultural.
And no, sorry, but thank you for participating. Now that's more structural, right? Because they're working with grammar and, like you said, connect this to that. So like these blocks fit together. They have to be here. Like I said, sociocultural. I don't see many teachers worrying about the sociocultural aspect of.
Teacher,
Yes.
I have a question. What's the difference between cognitive and structural? They are both related to mind process, right?
Yes, but structural doesn't require you to understand. It
Okay.
requires you to remember, right? That's
Okay,
why it's
okay.
more grammatical oriented. And cognitive, it's more based on your own assumptions, your own ideas. When when you're teaching now with this new constructivism or social constructivism that we're going to see later on, the teacher takes a step back from the center stage. It is the students who are at center stage, and we're just helping, guiding, but we cannot go and say this is right, this is wrong. Okay, this is more like, think about that, reflect on that. What kind of explanation can you come up with for this situation or for this particular sentence or whatever? Because you're leaving all the work to the students. Okay, in a structural way, or in a, you give them the definition. You say this is right, this is wrong. So it's more teacher centered, or maybe even material centered than student. Okay, the cognitive is, wow, student centered. Interactional and sociocultural is still student centered, but again, especially sociocultural, making students aware of their context, making students aware of who they are, who they're talking to, what is the situation, etc. Interactional is just like Adidali said, sometimes it's just repetition of a dialogue that is in the book, and you change a little bit the vocabulary, what we call like a substitute drill, you know, which takes me back to what Kimberly said. My name is that phrase is formulaic, so to speak. It's pre-made. My name is, and then you change it. So through repetition, everybody's going to be able to introduce themselves. My name is Kim. My name is Jose. My name is Alger. My name is Ari. My name is Carlos. My name. And I don't know if your teachers ever did that, but I've seen it not only in English but also in French and Italian. It's like they give you like a preset phrase, and you just change the vocabulary. Okay, like I like sushi. I like soccer. I like movies. I don't like vegetables. I don't like fish. I don't like onions. Okay, so just the onions, the fish, is the vocabulary is just rolling around with that preset. Okay, so like I said, that's more lexical than anything else, because in the structural, we want students to understand the rules. We have I, personal pronoun, like, transitive verb with an object, because what do you like? You like the object, which is blah blah blah. That's more structural. Okay, so yeah. Anais says some of them would only follow the course books. There was no conversation. So definitely not interaction, huh, Anaí?
Yeah, I think it was structural or no.
Yeah. I mean, guys, really, I don't want to sound all bitter. I mean, I am bitter, but most teachers, we still work on a structural syllabus. Okay, our program is structural. Um, most editorial houses, their books are structural. They just candy code them through functions and interaction and communicative way of teaching and social constructivism, which is, I mean, it's not true. It's really, I mean, you can analyze any book and you will see these consistencies in grammar, like you never see a book that in unit one, like unit one, course one, book one, they start teaching regrets or talk about your frustrated dreams and fantasies, right? I mean, teacher, but that what? It's a function of language. People express regrets all the time. Why can we teach that first? No, 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 teacher. Primero lo primero, que se presente. Where do you get that from? Remember what I said last time? For most teachers, learning is a linear process. Okay? Because it's easier to organize it, and you say, well, we're learning at this level, which is fine, but then your students get bored, or you get bored, and you want to challenge them a little bit, so that level becomes a little bit higher. Remember, I plus one, blah blah blah. Okay, but those teachers will tell you what. For me to teach students how to express a regret function, I will have to teach them this very complicated structure, which is the third conditional. If I had known, I wouldn't have done that. Now, just if you deconstruct that into its basic grammar elements, then you need the past perfect, you need a past modal, would have, you need the past participles, known, would have done, you have to teach conditionals. Those conditionals rely on clauses, so I have to teach clauses. Okay, so it's like taking the elements of what constitutes a regret from the grammatical point of view. And I said, it's like trying to go from step 1 to step 10, teacher. What happens to 2, 3, 4, and 5? Again, you will find that it's a lot easier to teach that way because you are regulating the level of difficulty of the structure. And you put this sugar coat on top of a function, interaction. Okay, that's why you see these books like we start introducing ourselves. I think that's very nice because with that function, I can teach you this grammar that is very basic that you need the verb to be, I am, occupations, names, last names, something very, very basic. Okay? So that will be the foundation upon which I'm going to build to teach you present continuous or do and does or whatever, Before I get to the past tense, I have to teach the present tense. Before I teach the present tense, I'm going to teach the present tense with the verb to be. You see the connection? Yes? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought
Yes.
you guys left. All right. So, yeah, like I said, cognitivism is very good, but it requires patience, a lot of time. The teachers have to understand that they're no longer the center of attention. And for most control freaks like myself, that is very difficult because it relies on the students. Lexical. I'm sure you have seen a lot of lexical classes in kindergarten. Have you? Do you remember when you were in kindergarten and you didn't study, you only play games? Today we play this game. Today we play that game. You were really learning through games based mostly on expressions and vocabulary. Okay? So when you have a class like a bingo that that's to do with find all the vegetables or whatever. You are working more on a lexical, from a lexical point of view, like learning demands that vocabulary, and then you lexicalize that grammar, just like I said, I like this, I don't like this. Okay. Now I don't know, I don't think you ever work with genre that's more specialized, like at the licenciatura. The licenciatura, that's more genre oriented because you are working with a specific language, meta language, jargon, even all the stuff that the teachers use, okay, like hypotheses and theories of language learning, constructivism, scaffolding, all these terms that have specific meanings in our environment. Okay, so that's what you got. Okay, like I said, most courses, open any book you want that teaches English, and it's going to be structural, functional, structural, right? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to teach you these functions of language. These functions of language require you to learn this grammar. So the functions are supersede. Well, they're controlled by the grammar. Okay, you're not going to see functions that are more complicated than the grammar that you're teaching at the time. Interactional, yes, they're going to spray that, like some chips on top of ice cream, because you're going to work in pairs and you're going to make conversations and dialogues and role plays. And, very, very rarely do I see teachers going for the cognitive way because they don't have the patience for that. It takes a long time. Okay. I mean, cognitive teaching is very much a reverse of how most teachers work. We present the topic, we explain the topic, we give the rule, we provide examples, we take care of the practice. Once they're ready, hopefully, they move on to production, and then, wow, they master the language or whatever, okay? And that takes time. Now, cognitive is the other way around, okay? You present language, a story, a video, a song. You ask students to think about the message, the content of the message, okay? We're not even thinking about grammar or anything. Just what do you take away from this, okay? And remember, you're not using the meta language. So you're not going to say, what function of the language? No, what do you take away from this interaction, these people talking in the video, or these people in the conversation and book, okay? And you're leading the students. You're just like, teacher, I think this means, okay, that's very good, very insightful, okay? Can you think of something else? Because, está perdido totalmente, agarró por otro lado. But you don't want to tell them that, okay? You just want to help them, lead them in the right way, the right direction, which is the one the books tells you, what the institution tells you, okay? Remember, most learning happens by accident. Most learning happens without us thinking about it. If I want to quote John Lennon, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, okay? So you can see something that you're supposed to learn, but you're going to take something away from that is very different from what the teacher intended. You didn't even expect to learn something from that, and you're like, oh, what I learned from this is, and your teacher like, ay, estás bien perdido. Yo quería que aprendieras el presente perfecto y te fuiste por otro lado. Okay, so that's why it's so much easier for teachers to work structured. Okay, because the teacher has the power. We control the flow of information. But all right, guys, we're gonna move on. Unless somebody has a question or a doubt or a comment, I'm open. What am I saying? Teacher, you bore me to death. Come on, what you're talking about? No, nobody?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Giovanna.
How did you learn English?
No, I acquired English, but it's weird. It's a weird story. I'm not gonna go very much into it because I don't have time. But I always liked movies and TV shows, So when I was growing up, we have cable TV. I didn't have a lot of friends, so I'd stay home watching TV, and I just pick it up. MTV, well, those days, yes, MTV, Disney Channel. I just pick it up. I mean, before I realized what's happening, I was able to understand certain things, expressions, blah, blah, blah. And one day my mom realized that because I was watching a comedian doing a monologue. He was alone on the stage. There was nothing around. He just a chair and his microphone. And I was laughing, a lot. And my mom was like, ¿Le entiendes al negrito? I was like, yeah, it's very funny. Pero está hablando inglés? Yes, I understand what he's saying. And that's when she decided to capitalize on that. Like, I'm going to send you to Centro Idioma so you get a diploma. So maybe one day you start teaching. And, well, you can blame or thank my mom for that. Right? So I acquired it. I didn't know the grammar, I didn't know the rules, I didn't know any of those until I got to Centro Idiomas. And then I had to learn because then I became a teacher. Right? So when I had to explain things to my students, I couldn't just say, pues así es y te pegas, cállate. No, I had to explain things, like, why do I do this, teacher? Oh, because this. Why do I do that? Oh, because of that. Okay? So that's why I learned grammar. And, after a while, you get hooked. Well, I got hooked. I like it. And you start teaching new teachers how to work with that. And before you realize you're working at a BA, enjoying time with some wonderful people like yourself. All right. So that's about it. Like I said, think about those theories behind learning because you have your own theory, you have your own belief system in your mind, but maybe you're not aware of that. So it's important that you're aware of how you see learning. Okay, remember that we said behaviorism, blah blah blah. We're gonna go over that too. So we're gonna move on to the next activity. Here, it sounds familiar. Research on second language acquisition has led to the development of a rich and diverse set of theories to explain how languages are learned. Right? So we got behaviorism, cognitive co-learning, creative construction, skill learning, interactional theory, constructivism, social cultural learning or social constructivism, which is just an extension of constructivism, as well as the role of individual factors in language learning. Now, have you been reading about this in your material? No, 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 no. Okay. Yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes. I can read you, people. I can read you. I'm very good at playing poker.
Yes.
I mean, I always lose because my face gives away, but I can read what people are saying. All right. Okay. So by now you have a kind of an idea what behaviorism is, or skill learning, or So let's try to put that to the test. Right. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, 3 minutes, to come up with the answer to this.
It says that if I learn another language aside from English, but what if I haven't?
Oh, then let's go with English.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make it a little bit more interesting because everybody here knows English, but when you learn English, maybe you were not aware of this. And since then, maybe some of you have learned another language, and you can think about the difference between when you learn English, when you learn another language. Yeah, it applies to Spanish as well. Okay, I got one. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Oh, very good. Damn. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's 5 seconds. All right, time's up. We're gonna see what you guys did. Diane didn't answer. Shame on you. Okay, so I got Arlette here. Says when I first started learning Japanese, it was the same as when I first learned Spanish. The first thing we learned was how to write. Arlette, when you learned Spanish, you learned to write before you spoke?
No, I meant as in when you start going to school, you start off first learning how to write your name.
Oh, okay,
That was what I meant.
but by then you already know how to speak.
Yes,
Right? I
but
mean,
I meant
Spanish,
how to write. Yeah.
you had like, I don't know, a couple of years before you actually went to school in kindergarten,
Yes. Mhm.
and you learn how to speak. With Japanese, it's very different, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, we say skill center. Yeah, something I don't get about the Japanese academy here in the three idiomas. Some teachers they spend like the first 3 trimesters just teaching them kanjis and stuff like that. They don't even really talk until very later, so much later. Is that true? Is that, I mean, that's my experience, but I don't know if,
No,
no, it's different?
no, we just spent the first trimester learning how to write.
Oh, the first trimester.
I don't know how to say that in English, but they are called syllabarios.
Syllabary, yes, yes. Yeah, like I said, the
Yeah,
different
just the
alphabets,
first.
right? What do you call it? Kanji, kanamata, or something like that?
Hiragana,
Huh?
katakana,
Katakana, yeah.
hiragana.
Hiragana, katakana, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why don't you first learn how to communicate and later you learn how to write? I mean, if you think about this in Spanish, first you learn how to speak because you acquire the language, and then you work heavily. Well, first you learn listening because before you speak, you're listening, and then from listening you start speaking. Later, maybe it's reading, and writing comes like after the at the end. And in Japanese, they're like, no, you want to learn to write first. But okay, I am criticizing, but that's because I'm a terrible person. Okay, Anais says behaviorism, right? We learn through repetition. Is Anais, is that true? Is that right?
I think.
So
Yes,
we don't,
yes. I don't know.
yeah, like no, it's okay. Well, I mean, like talking about your experience as a language learner, it was just repetition, and positive, negative reinforcement with behaviorism. Le hiciste mal, hacerlo otra vez, y hazlo otra vez, hasta que lo hagas bien. You know, that's repetition. Bianca says, I think I'm learning Japanese with behaviorism, interaction, and creative construction. Okay, all right. Interaction, yes, I understand what you might think that you're talking to another person. I guess practicing the dialogues in Japanese. Behaviorism, because you're repeating and they're telling you to memorize.
I think it's interaction because we need to come to a term to we understand, like we are saying, like we need to kind of negotiate what's the meaning, because it's really different from Spanish and English, the meanings they have in Japanese. So I think that's why it's interaction, because we need to come with a certain definition for it. I don't know if that.
But you make the definitions in Japanese or in Spanish?
in in both.
Both. Okay. So interaction. No problem. That's one. We have Ricardo. Behaviorism and interaction. We often repeat what the teacher was dictating, repeat keywords, what the teacher wanted that we communicate. Okay. 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 Now, it's a communication. Remember, it's a very broad term. Just because a parrot is able to say some words, sometimes they say those words on cue. That doesn't mean that they actually communicate, because the parrot doesn't even know what he's saying. It's just making a sound because he wants a cracker or something. So let's be careful because behaviorism is pretty much that, just repeating things. Like I said, cognitivism is understanding why you're doing the things you're doing. Interactional, learning from your interaction with people. So, okay, all right. Adi says behaviorism is quite noticeable since most teachers will encourage us with different things. Right, positive data reinforcement. You did it well. Here's some candy. You did it wrong. You have to do it again. Or no recess for you. Okay. Paola says behaviorism, interactional, learning in the classroom for imitation and interacting with classmates. Okay. Okay. Carlos, behaviorism and repetition. It's let's try to learn German by watching Dark. You wanted to go into immersion, right? Like, I enjoyed the series that much. I wanted to understand. I think you chose the wrong series to learn German, because it's complicated as it is. Even if you watch it in Spanish, it's very complicated. So to watch that complicated series in a language you don't know is like, wow. I just remember watching the first season. I was very happy that I was able to understand Danke and Peter. The guys were saying, try to listen words based on what was happening. Okay, very good. Kimberly was in English, the theory of skill. Okay, skill. Kimberly, what do you mean skill? What do you learn that makes you? Yeah.
It wasn't enough time. I didn't finish it. I tried to say that cognitive was very present when I was learning English because I learned it through music and High School Musical and
Okay.
movies.
And
So
movies.
that's why. But
Well,
I didn't finish. I wasn't able to finish.
Yeah, 3 minutes is not enough. Fair skills, right? I mean, skills, reading, writing, speaking, listening, right? The basic skills of language. But that's what we're doing. Like, learn how to do this, and you will learn the language. Okay, Angelica, skill learning. Okay, Angelica, same thing. We teach students how to do certain things. Angelica.
Sorry, I forgot that I was muted. Yes, basically something like a skill learning. Well, in my case, as learning was more like my learning process was more like behaviorism in a way. But nowadays it's more just the way I'm supposed to be teaching is to teach them how to communicate, how to read, how to
Okay, guys, we have less than a minute. Let me, sorry, okay, and you're gonna cut you off. Please try to come back. Just give me 5 more minutes so we can finish this.